Hi, my dear Astro family. Today I wanted to speak about Britain a little bit. And the reason why, because the pound has weakened quite a lot. So I thought I would look at the Prime Minister's chart and to share some of my insights with you. So I hope you will like this video. And if you do so, please subscribe, press like, press the notification bell so that you know when I'm coming up with new content, and also share the videos with others. Now, I would like to make an announcement that I will be starting a beginner course. Plenty of you have asked me to teach from scratch. So I've put together a material about the 12 signs. It's going to be a 12-week course. It's going to be £149. So basically, you're going to be paying like £5 per lesson, really, or per hour. So I really try to make it as in everyone's budget as possible. And we will learn about the signs, everything, whatever you can imagine. We will learn what plants they rule, their psychological motives, their psychological scripts and downfalls, and everything you need to know about the signs. You can purchase them separately as well if you are only curious about your rising sign, sun sign, or your moon sign. So let's get started with the Prime Minister's chart because I feel like it's very interesting. Now, as you might have heard, recently the pound has gone very weak, which I actually mentioned previously that currencies will be in trouble. So it was not a shock for me. To be frank, I expected the US dollar to be dropping also, but it's actually, it got a little bit stronger. I also said that there was going to be a strong female character who will come to power. To be frank, again, I did not expect this to be in the UK, if I really want to be honest. But, we're talking about the world's politics. So overall, I saw a strong female character coming. And that was mainly because there was this Pluto and Aries square going on for a while. Now, I would like to point out that we don't know the exact timing of birth of Liz Truss. So we will disregard the house positions. And we might not be working with her moon either, as the moon can travel up to 15 degrees a day. But we can actually use parents, for instance, to determine some of her topics in her life, as well as we can look at the planetary energies from a mundane point of view. Now, parents, why I like parents is because they don't necessarily need the exact timing of birth. We just need the exact location where the person was born. Now, you might know that Pluto is actually currently sitting on 26 degrees of Capricorn, and it's going to be stationary direct from the 8th of October. And it will start gaining speed around the 14th of October. So Pluto will start doing its own bits and bobs. Now, what do we see here? Pluto in her chart is actually creating a grand cross. It's happening between Uranus, Mercury, and Chiron. Now, this is definitely an interesting combination. Why is that? Because Uranus is about sudden events. Mercury is about voting. Chiron is about bleeding and sickness. So some of the manifestation which can come with this. For instance, she could be suddenly sick, or she could be actually suddenly voted off her little throne as well. But also, there could be sudden gossips about her, or people are talking behind her back, and all those type of things. So potentially this could show loads of things. Unfortunately, without the house position, it is hard to determine what it exactly brings. But it could really, in my opinion, it could really talk about voting, which is not going to be necessarily in her favor because this is a grand cross. But also a grand cross appears in politicians' chart quite a lot who comes to power. But the grand cross is always talking about challenges. If also you look at it, you can see that her Mercury is quite afflicted by Saturn also. And Saturn represents the politicians, the government, the structure, or the integrity. So maybe her position will be questioned or her integrity will be questioned. Now, Pluto will be moving into the sign of Aquarius next year towards the end of March. And straight after, it will start squaring her sun. Now, the sun is something to do with your life purpose, but as well as hierarchy positions, your position in the world. And with Pluto, there is going to be plenty of digging down there. Maybe some of the dirt is going to come up, but also it's just showing that, I want to be very powerful. I make certain type of decisions which others might not necessarily like. Another interesting thing which I actually spotted in this chart, by the way, this constellation between Pluto and the Sun will be quite active from March till July 2023, and then from 2024 onwards, basically the whole year. So that could be quite a challenging 1.5 years for her if she's going to remain the prime minister, by the way. Now, another interesting thing that I spotted in her chart is a T-square between Juno, Mars, and the South Node in Scorpio. Now, let's just talk about that a little bit. I mean, Juno is about commitments, but also partnership, kind of like collaborations. The South Node is kind of like losing out on something. So it could really talk about, for instance, that I lose out on a partnership, which was actually very important for us. And the fact that Uranus-Mars North Node conjunction happened on 18 degree of Taurus, where her natal Mars is. So that could be one of the reasons why the British pounds kind of became volatile, because Mars is something to do with kind of like frustration and anger. And whenever Mars plays a role in currencies chart or cryptos or even the stock market, it really makes the market very volatile. So I would never recommend investing during Mars periods, by the way. And we have got this Uranus North Node transit on her Mars. And it's going to happen one more time in October and November. So my guess is that on a personal level, this could really show that her ability to lead Mars is going to be questioned, or potentially this could also show that the British pound is going to further drop. Another possibility with this is that there is going to be a scandal around her, and she makes very forceful steps, for instance, in the finance sector. This could also explain something around tax, inheritance, mortgage, loans, and maybe some type of regulations around this. Now, I'm making this video on the 1st of October, but I think this is gonna be very highlighted in the next couple of months. Most likely around the eclipses. By the way, I also feel like with the Juno in the sign of Cancer, which could really talk about people I kind of collaborate with, I think it has got an element of a visa method to it as well. I also feel like that with Mars, which can represent the workforce to a certain extent, that in the sign of Taurus, obviously we need people to make money. So this could really show things such as they're going to be changing bits and bobs around who can travel, who can work there, and so forth. So Juno, what we need to remember about Juno is that it's about partners, people we have got agreement with, and some of her agreements or collaborations can also go rocky. Juno can also show her followers or even her employees. So it might actually mean that her employees will be changing actually in the near future. Another interesting factor, which I looked at from a karmic point of view, and I'm not going to tell you, and I'm not going to explain how to check that. But actually, basically, she was born to have a drive to diversify to people's life. She is here to become a healer who needs to be able to bring help through words or her actions. So obviously, it's going to be very interesting to see whether she's going to be tapping into that power or not. Also, what's very interesting is that by looking at her Paran, her rising sign, Sirius was rising as the sun was rising also, which can really talk about kind of like success, which we can burn easily around us. But also, it really shows up that she is quite a kind of like an artistic characteristic or someone who is interested in athletic type of things, or even architecture overall. So I just wanted to make this a very quick video about her. So to summarize on that, I believe that the British pound is going to be struggling even further, especially October, towards the end of October and the first couple of weeks of November. Thank you, everyone, and see you very soon. Bye-bye.